Yes, there is a similar pattern in southern pole. The difference is, there's a continent down there, whereas up north, it's mostly ocean. So it's sea ice, pack ice, as opposed to continental ice. And I'm sure you're aware, but you'll have climate deniers say that, you know, the ice is melting, but I don't see the sea level rising. Sea ice is already in the ocean, it's displaced water, so when it melts, there's no change in sea level. If you take a glass of water, fill it with ice, the ice will melt, it's not gonna overflow, right? It's the continental ice, it's the ice that's on the land, and that melts off of Greenland, off of the Antarctic. That is raising sea level, and sea levels are rising pretty quickly.
That versus what? Not continental, but what do other people proclaim?
Sea ice, pack ice.
Is it possible to get to 1.5 degrees with
It is possible. Oh, that's another thing. You'll hear people say that if we address climate change, our economies, global economies will suffer. There's been a lot of research on that as well. It's not true. That's really difficult.
But that's what the Paris Agreement still says?
The Paris Agreement said well below 2 degrees, preferably 1.5. The Paris Agreement came up with 2 degrees as their benchmark. But they continued well below 2 degrees, 1.5 would be better. So the technology is there, except for this new zero carbon. Right? The technology is there. It's the political will that is missing. People are afraid that it's going to destroy economic growth. That recent letter from Bill Gates, where he says that given the finite resources that we have, and he doesn't mean iron, steel, lithium, he's talking about financial resources, that we should focus on minimizing human suffering. We should focus upon adaptation. Adaptation without mitigation is not going to work. It's like, well, what En-ROADS, what they like to do, they use this bathtub with water flowing in and tubes with the water coming out. You can bail, if you have a leaking boat, a rowboat with a couple of holes in it, it's leaking, and you're bailing. The best strategy is to patch the holes first, because bailing, which is adaptation, is way more difficult, way more costly, in this case, your energy, and possibly not going to be successful. But if you could patch those holes, maybe not completely, but whatever you can do to decrease the influx of water makes bailing that much more effective. We cannot abandon mitigation. All of these are mitigation strategies, right? if we abandon mitigation and went back to that, what adaptation strategies can we implement that will make a difference? Especially for those least prepared for adaptation. We hear people say, well, just turn the air conditioning up. They have no understanding of how that air conditioning works and how it's powered. And what about the billions of people who don't have air conditioning? It's if I'm representing CCL here, I want to be careful what I don't say. If I turn the shirt around.
That meeting
It's,
is over, CCL is not here anymore.
Yeah, it's just, it's being recorded.
Yes, we're back.
Taking my CCL hat off, I think there is I can only talk about this country, because my experience in the EU is different. They seem to be much more attuned. There is a pathology, there is an illness in this country that has resulted in little to no empathy for our fellow humans. And it is a disease that's going to eat us up, really. Putting CCL hat back on, their training is dedicated to working across the divide. They invest heavily in Brainerd Angels training, which is how to communicate with people who have very different thoughts. They focus on finding common ground. I don't care how raving crazy MAGA or how raving crazy progressive people are. There's common ground somewhere. The difficulty is in finding it. And the way you find it is to have those difficult conversations and listen. My wife, on that lobby meeting with Tony Gonzalez this morning, my wife said I interrupted him and prevented him from talking. I don't remember doing that, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did, because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. But I think, in spite of all this, I'm still hopeful. I think that the planet will address climate. It will not be 2 degrees. It will not be well below 2 degrees. But it's not going to be 3.5 degrees either. Ecosystems will be significantly disrupted. There are graphs that we can look at about food and insects and mammals. I mean, there's such depth in here that we don't have time to touch. But one of the interesting research results by botanists, food scientists, is not so much that corn or rice or wheat can't grow. The nutritional value is compromised, significantly compromised by heat. So yeah, we can grow corn, we can grow rice, but it's not going to have that nutritional value that the cool weather corn did. What does that mean in terms of feeding the population? Not good. Not good.
policy feeds into this if we're not keeping up with our.
For a long, long time, I was against, nuclear energy. I think we need it. I don't think there's a way out of it. It's not going to, it cannot be built out to scale that we need. It will always be a supplement. These new modular reactors, there's one going in Amarillo at, which Texas College is up in Amarillo.
Feel free to keep going on with this meeting, but I have another one at 7, so I'll just be in the other room. Whenever it's done, just let me know.
Okay.
But yeah, keep going, guys.
Yeah.
It's great.
So these small modular reactors have the potential to add to our energy sources. I'm a big proponent of geothermal for a couple of reasons. I don't know if you know this. Credit Union, which is one of the credit union banks in San Antonio, they built a new headquarters in downtown San Antonio, south end of Broadway.